Hunter Renfrow talk is so high right now because I don't think they have a definitive solution yet. But if they get somebody like a Hunter Renfrow, this guy's a slot specialist. I mean, he can do way more than just play at slot. But I'd be really interested to see where exactly everything falls. But again, if they don't get Renfrow, they're going to find their guys, if you will, and stuff. And it's going to be interesting how this personnel stacks up because I think there's packages with having Moreau and obviously Johnson on the field at the same time. There's the Taysom Hill stuff. There's obviously how to use Jamal Williams in accordance with Alvin Kamara. You got Olave looking pretty good. I mean, he made a great catch at practice with Carr. And just these are the times where you make all these mistakes, if you will. And so I'm interested again to see more of it.
All right, see, this is why John knows best over here. You mentioned Hunter Renfrow. Next question that I want to bring up. What is like the likelihood of this? And I'm curious, John, we'll bring it back to you on this one. What are you kind of thinking in terms of maybe not likelihood of this trade actually happens, but in terms of the fit, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, so everybody's got to remember it is definitely something that would happen after June 1st because the contracts, all these other types of things, right? Do I think that they absolutely have to trade for him? No, but at the same time, would it make sense? I think the rumors because it makes sense because of Derek Carr, all the types of things. I mean, shoot, you look at the reuniting with Foster Moreau and you got Jonathan Abram on the team. You got Ugo Amadi. You got all these different connections, right? Or Brian Edwards or what have you. So, I mean, it could make sense, but of course it all comes down to what's the compensation and then what's the contract look like and all that type of stuff. So, I mean, again, you got to remember most of the receivers for the Saints, besides Shaheed and Olave and then presumably A.T. Perry making the final squad, most of the guys are free agents after this year. So I think if you look at doing that kind of move, hopefully it's something more long-term vision, if you will. But, look, never say never at anything. I think they have more pressing needs. I think they need to look at the defensive line. I think they really need to look at linebacker for sure as some of the areas to address when it comes to potential free agents or trades and such. But, don't rule it out, but it's something that keeps coming up.
And sticking on the subject of Hunter Renfrow, Lance, I'm curious, what do you think about his potential fit if the Saints were to add a guy like that to a room that we mentioned, Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed? I think if they were to add him, that'd probably be the best group of 4 wide receivers the Saints have had in a long time. But I'm curious what your perspective would be on that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're asking me from just a totally football perspective, hell yes. He is an accomplished slot receiver. He's not just some guy, right? He's a Pro Bowler. Hunter Renfrow is one of the best slot receivers in the National Football League. He is a guy that is known for routing people up, getting open, and making plays. It doesn't look pretty all the time, but one thing I've always noticed when he's running routes is, dang, this dude is wide open. And then you watch it and you're like, this dude has something to him. Like he's not just the standard white receiver that's a quick guy and he catches some balls. Like he's different now. Like this dude can play. So like John is saying, if there's a way that it can make sense financially and contract wise, as far as how long he's going to be there, I would do it. I mean, what are you losing? And then obviously you're going to have to give up some kind of compensation. But I think that if it's a need that they feel like is kind of top of list, then you make it happen. You do whatever you can to surround Derek Carr with as many weapons as possible, and then you go play ball. Like if there's an opportunity to do it and you don't do it at the end of the season, if you are thinking that slot position was something that could have helped you be better, then you're going to be kicking yourself. So if it's a situation where he's available, I say absolutely try to find a way to do it. And if he's not available, to go back on the last question, talking about the slot position, who do I think is going to start there? I don't know that it's necessarily important as who starts there as who ends up playing there most of the time. And I think with the speed that we've got on the outside with Shaheed and Olave, I would not be surprised to see Mike T down in the slot, beating those little DBs up, making contested catches, getting yards after the catch, kind of almost moving and molding into that Colston role where he's just a big body guy that's able to out physical and outsize those smaller nickel defenders. And then obviously out quick linebackers and safeties. I mean, that would make a whole lot of sense to me. And obviously Sean's not there. And Sean is the guy that obviously loved the kind of bigger slot receiver or the Colston role, which is one that he developed. But I think Pete kind of embodies some of those same thoughts as far as who he would like to see down in there. And we've seen him do it before. It's not like it's something like, oh my gosh, Michael Thomas is moving from the X to play in the slot. Like he's played in the slot a ton and made a ton of plays in there. So it would not surprise me to see him back in there a lot this coming season.